Test, 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 test.
Yeah.
Test, test.
Isn't Isaac going to use that one, though?
Yeah, so Miles, what I would do is just maybe like stand
Stand
like
there
this
instead?
and, yeah, and just kind of project your voice towards that. Our new system picks up audio way better.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'd honestly rather not be wearing that, so if I can, so if as long as people can hear me, I'm
Test,
happy
test,
not
test.
to have it.
Oh.
But I use this to teach.
Yeah, so, all right, cool.
I was gonna ask you if there was
Here, if I'm going to move this, it's on my way to. Does it break everything?
This is
At least
why I
there was
didn't
no
pour
wine in
wine.
Exactly, good thing you didn't pour it. That's why. Thanks.
Is that the one from your family?
This is our family.
Aw, beautiful. Yay, it's
So it works.
intact, just like the marriage. Yay.
In this summer, Isaac and I did an experiment where we learned how to clean silver using, I think it was like baking soda. Zoom. Oh, look, Isaac.
So,
Who's Daniel?
That's him. Oh, no, we don't, is that,
here.
That's me.
So
So we're
there's
on
two
now. As soon as someone turns on, they're watching. So we're on in Zoom because there are family members that are going to join there.
we
Okay,
got 9 minutes.
so there's two programs here that I just printed off, they're the latest that I sent you last night.
I've got it printed out.
Okay, so you've got it here, there's one here, there's one right over here.
If I could, ask you if you could just address Isaac for like 2 minutes, or maybe just 1 minute.
Talk to the boss.
You're-
Jacob Bronstein just
If
joined.
that's okay with you.
Talk to the bosses, them and the rabbi.
Everybody, for 1 second.
We can have everyone, sorry, we can have everybody quiet for just,
Hang on.
guys, should we have everybody quiet?
Camera's on. People can hear what everybody's doing. He just wants to do it.
Hold on, I just want to have, here, okay, so, Test, test. So what I would need is somebody to, here, could you hold this here, do I have the Zoom link? Could you send me the Zoom link?
We just have to watch sound. When we do the mic right up here, I have to make sure the sound is, or on yours, you make sure your sound is off when you do this, otherwise it's
Yeah,
going
yeah, no, where's the,
Zoom link.
Zoom link, I need the Zoom link. Also, can we get somebody monitoring, or disable comments for the Facebook page or something, because we had a troll last night. There needs to fix on Facebook page. That thing might get grandmother in the day. Oh, well, you can bet for 30 years in that's your thing.
Sound is on, in case anybody,
Okay.
if someone stops watching. just so-
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's there.
Glad to hear it.
Okay, so can you hold the microphone up to wherever?
So you're on.
Am I muted?
Go ahead. Tell him yes. Perfect. No. So you're going to be hearing it on right here to hear when they start and stop?
So what we'll do then, so, okay, so basically we'll leave it here to grandparents, but like, it's not going to pick up for other people here.
So when they speak, if we hold the mic to the Zoom. We'll hear them saying the prayers on Zoom.
Oh, nice.
So they'll be just like you were a second ago on here.
But I couldn't hear myself.
You don't need to hear yourself.
I'm saying, will the hall hear grandma and grandpa when through the cameras?
over the mic. So what you need to do is with your phone on Zoom,
Okay.
put it to a mic.
Okay.
You could put it to this mic.
Got it. Okay.
So that's the way they'll hear
Okay,
it.
let's try this one.
And just interject if
Yeah.
you need to. You know, like, Rabbi, put your phone.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give them,
This is
remind,
God. Everybody's forgiven.
yeah, everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
We're totally live these days.
Right? Like,
Um,
I've seen people who've never been on Zoom.
Okay, hang on. I gotta stop.
Okay. It's down. Okay, can you say something? No, you talk. Danny, I want you to talk to me right now. Danny, Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach.
I have a quick question for you.
Yep.
May I please address Isaac for like 30 seconds before one of my songs?
Sure, absolutely, go for it. We'll see. I'm not hearing it right now.
Mostly, although I haven't been, I go to the office every hour. Mostly it's just the guys who use the lab going in, but there are times where I can't know that I'm going to have extended quiet at home and I need to be in my office.
Yes, absolutely.
There's only, we have 13 employees, really 15 people involved in the company. Usually there's only one or two there at any one time, so it's pretty safe to go in. Plus we also stocked up on HEPA filtration devices. all
Yes.
around us.
As has McGillis, there's going to be one in every state.
I have to, also, we still do have to travel a little bit because we're in rural locations in our first human study.
You are.
So for example, I was in Tennessee at the beginning of the week, because we have a clinical site there, for health patients. So, I have to be honest with you, I don't safer on the airplanes than I do in a lot of other places, just because I know what kind of air handling systems they have there.
They're taking it so seriously.
Plus, everybody's sitting quietly with a mask on.
And facing the same direction. Right? That's a good point.
So it's just, it really doesn't bother me. Bothers me more is just walking around, being in stores here, like you're not in there for a very long time, right? No one knows what their HVAC systems are like. Not everybody's paying attention to this mask thing.
Ma tovu halecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu halecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. Oh, sorry. I I was actually just practicing. Oh, okay. So this is after you. Okay. Oh, of course, of course. Sorry.
Shabbat Shalom. We know that some people are figuring out the technology, so we're going to start in about 3 minutes. Shabbat Shalom. I hope that you all are doing well and staying safe and happy and healthy. Well, I know that the past 6 months have been an awfully long 6 months for us. I mean, who thought that this was going to go on this long? But even though today is not what we were expecting a while ago, today is a very happy day. And we get to see that no matter what's going on in our world, that today and days like today, we have reasons to celebrate, reasons to rejoice, not only because it's Shabbat, a time to reflect on the rest of the week, the past week and the week ahead, but also because today we get to call a young person to the Torah who becomes a bar mitzvah. Even though, like I said, things happen in the Jewish world, something that doesn't stop is us moving forward as a people, us growing as a people, and us finding reasons to find joy. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. And so we were warming up our voices a little earlier, and just making sure we have our brand new technology so you can see and hear us clearly. Hopefully you can. If you can't, talk to Danny. He's kind of watching everything, making sure we're good. Appreciate you, Danny Berman. But we're going to warm up our voices now and talk about how wonderful of a day it is and how we can find beauty all around us, including right here in this synagogue, with the singing of Ma Tovu. Karen.
Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Sing with me. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Today is a unique bar mitzvah as well, because Isaac is a pretty unique guy. I've come to know that about you, Isaac. You're the one and only Haber kid in your family. You're pretty unique. And we often hear we're a dual affiliate congregation. We let people choose if they want a reform service for their bar mitzvah or a conservative service. And what we're going to be doing today, I'm calling it a reformative service, because there were traditions that Isaac and his family loved about the reform movement that we're going to be incorporating today. A lot of guitar playing, like from Karen, one of Isaac's teachers, but also they really love the traditional Siddur Lev Shalem. You can find a copy of that online. They have PDFs online. We are on page 103 for Birchot HaShahar, or morning blessings. And Miles Greenberg is going to be leading us as well.
Boker Tov, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise if you're able. We're on page 103. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sech v'vina, l'avchin ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokeb kufufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka aretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechim et tzadik gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ayef koach. ותננו היום וכל יום לכנו חסד ורחמים בעיניך ובעיני כל רואינו ותגמלנו חסדים טובים ברוך אתה אדוני גמל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל. We turn now to page 122. And please rise for Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar ba'olam, Baruch Hu Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer v'Yoseh, Baruch Hu Zerum Kayim, Baruch Merachem al ha'aretz, Baruch Merachem al briot, Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov l're'av, Baruch Chai la'ad v'kayam la'netzach, Baruch Bodeh Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah. Yachid Chei Olamim Melech Meshubach U'Faradei Ad Shemo Agadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mehulal B'Tishbachot. Now we turn to page 128. לדוד בשנתו את תמו לפני אבימלך, וירגשהו וילך. If you know this song, please join me. I think we're 12 or 13 lines down the page. Mi haish hechafetz chaim, ohev yamim lirot tov. Mi haish hechafetz chaim, ohev yamim lirot tov. Nitzor לשונך מהרה ושפתיך מדבר מהימה, סור מרע ויעשה טוב, בקש שלום ורודפהו. מי האיש החפץ חיים, אוהב ימים לראות טוב. תמוטט ראש הרע ושונאי צדק ישמו, פודה אדוני נפש עבדיו ולא ישמו כל חוסים בו. We now turn to page 134. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב לראות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה מה יפרח, כארז בבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובו בשיבה, דשן ועניים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו, אדוני מלך גאות, לבש לבש. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד לביתך נא בקודש, אדוני לאורך ימים. Now we turn to page 141, and Karen will lead us in Psalm 150.
Psalm 150 is Hallelujah, where we're instructed to get whatever we can to praise God, to grab a timbrel, an instrument. So if you have something at home you want to grab and sing along with me and make some noise, I invite you to do so. And I asked the rabbi if I could just take 30 seconds to love on Isaac for a minute. Isaac, I've known you for 8 years, and I've got to see you grow up at McGillis, and it's been a joy to have you in drama. You were our Demetrius in Midsummer Night's Dream, and you were spectacular. And you are wearing today, I noticed, your signature orange, of course.
You told me he was going to.
Yes, and here he is in his orange. This kiddo would show up with orange Crocs in class, orange pants, an orange t-shirt, and I just happened to look up the color orange, with, as it would be, an orange student. So I just wanted to share with you because it so resonates with who you are. It says the color orange represents enthusiasm and emotion, exudes warmth, fun, joy, and that provides emotional strength, spontaneity, and courage, and encourages social communication and creativity. Bam! That's our Isaac. So how wonderful to see you here. I see your eyes squinting, so I know you're smiling. And just know, I wish I could just give you and your beautiful family a huge hug today. This is such a great event, and I'm so, so proud of you. So go ahead and grab your instruments, whatever you have. Thanks, Mom, for hugging him for me. And clap along, sing along at home. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Bechasho. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. That was fun. We turn now to page 143.
וירא ישראל את מצרים מת על שפת הים, וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה אדוני במצרים, ויראו הים את אדוני, והאמינו באדוני ובמשה עבדו. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני ויאמרו לאמור, השיר על אדוני כי גאו גאה, סוס ורחבו רמה וים, עוזי וזמרתיה, ויהי לי לישועה, זה לי בענווהו, אלוהי אביו רוממנו, אדוני איש מלחמה, אדוני שמו, מרכבות פרעה וחילו ירה בים, ומבחר שלישיו, טובעו בים סוף, תהומות יסיומו, ירדו ומצולות כמו אבן, ימינך אדוני נדרי בכוח, ימינך אדוני תירץ אויב.
Turn now to page
144.
144.
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כי לאדוני המלוכה ומושל בגויים, ויעלו מושים בהר ציון לשפוט את עריסיו. והייתה לאדוני המלוכה, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Page 145. נשמת כל חי תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו. We're at the bottom of page 146. נהללך ונשבחך ונפרחך ונברך את שם קודשך כאמור, לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבי את שם קודשו. Page 147. האל בתעצומות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא, שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו. בפי ישרים תתהלל, ודברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקהלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. שכן חובת כל יצורים לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפעל, לרומם, להדל, לברך, להלל ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך.
Thank you. We now, you may be seated for the time being, unless you're the Haber family, because you know, Isaac, I so love, I'm going to take this off because I'm echoing inside my own mask. I've never spoken with a mask and a mic on. That's kind of fun. But when I talk to people about being involved today, like Karen and Miles, everybody was so excited to be involved because everybody has watched you grow on your Jewish journey. and has been a part of your journey in some way. And we're about to do something that's a very significant milestone on your Jewish journey. Now, you see this talit that I'm wearing. What this represents is not that I got bar mitzvahed about 20 years ago. No, because if I got bar mitzvahed, that would mean I read some Torah and had a party, and then I was done being Jewish. Instead, this represents that I've become a bar mitzvah, that I am a bar mitzvah. And everywhere I go and wear this talit, people know that about me. They say, that's somebody who became bar mitzvah. And it kind of feels like when I'm happy, this talit has been with me in wonderful moments, like being over my chuppah when I was married, or wrapping it around myself when I became a rabbi. But in moments where I've been sad, it feels like a warm hug from God and everybody who knows me and loves me. And so I'd like to invite you and your parents up here at this time. And you have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful talit that shows the city of Jerusalem and is art from Yair Emanuel. Isaac, I'll have you come over here so you're a little closer to the mic so that people can hear you. And if you can take hold of the talit and lead us in the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu lehitatef batzitzit.
Amen. And give your parents a hug and kiss. You can. All right, Mom and Dad, you can go back to your seats. And Isaac, if you can read right here for me.
I am ready and willing to take on mitzvot as a Jewish adult. Today, I affirm that my Jewishness matters to me. I promise to take seriously my Jewish obligation to take care of others and to take care of our earth. I promise to take seriously my relationship with Torah, even when it upsets me. I promise that I will never stop learning. When Moses stood at the burning bush, God identified himself as I am becoming, who I am becoming. God is always becoming something new, and so am I. I don't know what my future holds, but I will meet that future as a Jew. I will try to question, and I will try to love the stranger, and I will try to be grateful, starting right here, right now.
Amen. And Isaac, what you've done now with putting on your talit is actually you have fulfilled a mitzvah for the first time, a certain mitzvah for the very first time. And whenever you arrive at a new place at your Jewish journey, or a new moment in life, or do something that you like a mitzvah for the very first time, we actually have a special blessing for that. So if you know it, you are welcome to join in with us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Clap along. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Yashar koach, Isaac.
Yashar koach. We continue on page 148 with Yishtabach in the Hatzikash.
Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu. Berachot ve'odaot me'atav yad olam. Baruch atah Adonai El melech gadol b'tishbachot. El ha'odaot Adonai niflaot. Abocher b'shirei zimra. Melech El chei ha'olamim. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ויעמד יברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ויומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
And Isaac, come on up here. Miles is going to move over to the podium over there. We are on page 149 as Isaac and Karen lead us in the Baruch.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Page 150.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzero v'rei choshech, osei shalom v'vorei et hakol. Hakol yiducha v'hakol yishabchucha. Ein kirchecha Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh, v'ein zulatcha malkeinu l'chaye olam haba. Efes biltcha golenu miot hamashiach, v'ein dome lecha moshienu, litchiat hametim. 151. El Adon al kol ha'masim baruch u'varach b'fi kol nishama gadlo v'tuvo male olam da'at utvuno sovav imoto hamitga'el chayot hakodesh v'nedar b'chavod al ha'merkava zechutu mishor lifnei chiso chesed v'rachamim lifnei chavodo Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu yitzaram bedat bevina uvhaskel koach uvura natan bahem liot moshlim bekerev tevel meleim ziv umfikim noga na'ezivam b'chol ha'olam semechim b'tzeitam v'sasim b'voam osim b'yem ha'ratzon konam Be'er v'chavod notnim lishmot tzahalav arina lezecher malchuto kara l'shemesh v'yizrach ora v'hitkin surat havana shevach notnim lo kol tzeva maharom tiferet utgula serafim v'ofanim v'chayot hakodesh. 152. Le'el asher shevat mikol ha'masim. Titbarach Moshienu al shevach masei yadecha v'yamorei or shasita yifa'aru chasela. Page 153. Titbarach tzorenu malkeinu v'golenu borei kedoshim.
Let me, I don't have access.
Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim, kulam giborim, v'kulam osim be'ma v'ira ha'retzon konam, v'kulam porchim et pihem, b'kedusha v'tahara, b'shira v'zimra, v'arachim u'mshabechim, u'mfarim u'maritzim, u'makdishim u'mamlichim, Et Shema el HaMelech HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, Kadosh Hu. V'chulam mekablim aleihem, ol malchut shamayim ze mizeh, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה וברע ונימה קדושה. כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש, ברעש גדול מתנסים, לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ליל ברוך נמות יתנו, למלך על חי וקיים. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות.
With a great love, you have loved us. How wonderful it is that we get to blend our reform and our conservative melodies together. We get to hear Miles' voice, and I owe it all to you, Habers, for bringing us together. Matt and Rachel, it's just like you to be the blender and the bringer together in our community. So go ahead and get out your rhythm makers if you want, or clap along. Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, 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 Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu.
והערננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בשועתך. והביאנו לשלום מעבר כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כמויות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון. וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך לחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Amen. Page 155, Isaac, you and Karen will lead us in the central dogma of our faith, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'afta
et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinontam levanecha v'dibarta bam Beshivtecha v'techa uletecha v'deret ushoftecha ukumecha
Ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu litotafa beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, vehaya yimshavat yishmeu asher anochi mitzvochatem hayom. Yomer Adonai Moshe lemor taber b'nei Yisrael ve'amata lehem v'asu lahem tzitzit ve'ivei l'Torah al tzitzit v'knafam ve'haya lachem tzitzit
Adonai
Elohim emet.
V'yatziv v'nachon v'kayam v'yashar v'ne'eman v'yahu v'chaviv v'nechmad v'na'im v'nora v'yadir umtukan umkubal v'tov v'yafeh. V'dor b'dor u'kiyam u'shmo kayam v'chiso v'nachon u'malchuto v'yemunato le'ad kayamet. Emet shetahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avotenu melkenu melech avotenu go'aleinu go'el avotenu yotzreinu tzor yeshuotenu podenu matzilenu me'olam shemecha ein Elohim zulatecha Ezrat avotenu etahu me'olam. We're on page 158 now. Tehilot le'el elyon baruch hu morach Moshe u'Miriam v'nei Yisrael lecha anu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam.
And Karen will lead us in the Micha Mocha, middle of page 158, our Song of Freedom.
So get out your timbrels, clap along. It's our song of celebrating our freedoms.
Hooray.
Yam bum bum ba yam bum 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 ba yam bum bum ba yam bum 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 ba yam bum bum ba yam bum 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 yam bum 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 bum. Mi chamocha be'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Ba'okei hayam livnei, ma'alehu techara uvanecha, ba'okei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu v'yamru, ze'elianu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yam bam bam ba yam bam 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 ba yam bam bam ba ram bam 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 ba yam bam bam ba yam bam 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 yam bam bam ba yam bam 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 bam.
Thank you. Always bring the Ruach this morning. Helps wake me up. Miles, if you could continue with the traditional liturgy.
Shir chadasha shivachu go'olim l'shimchat al svatayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlichu v'yameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Tzor Yisrael kuma
Please rise.
Yisrael v'echnu mecha yudav Yisrael go'aleinu Adonai tzvot shemo kedosh Yisrael baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael.
Page 159.
Silent Amidah continues through page 160. Is that right?
Yeah.
166, actually.
We continue silently, in case you didn't hear that, through page 166. Or if you don't have a prayer book, you can use this as a time for your own prayers and meditations of your heart.
Turn back to page 159 for the repetition of the Amidah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem L'man Shemo V'Yahava Melech Ozer Foked U'Mashiach Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Foked Sarah Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai Mechayim Etim Ratarav Lehoshia Morid HaTahal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayim Etim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato, Lishanei Afar, Michamocha B'Gevurot, Umidaho Melach, Melech Meimit Umachayei Umatzmiach Yeshua V'nemanat al-Chayometim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaMetim 161 Nikadesh et Shimcha Ba'olam Kashem Shemakdishim Oto B'Shmei Marom Kakatuv al Yad Neviyecha V'Karazeh El Zevi Amar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevot Meloch Haaretz Kevodo Az B'Kol Rahash Gadol Adir V'Chazak Mashmi'im Kol Mitnasim Lumat Serafim Lumatan Baruch Yomeru Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimekomo Mimkomecha Malkeinu Tofia V'Timloch Aleinu Kimachakim Anachnu Lach Matai Timloch B'Tzion B'Karov Yameinu Leolam Va'ed Tishkon Tit Gadal V'Tit Kadash B'toch Yerushalayim Irchaha L'dor Vador U'Lenetzach Nitzachim Ve'enenu tirena, tirena malchutecha, kadavar ha'amor, v'shirei uzecha. Ve'enenu tirena, tirena malchutecha, kadavar ha'amor, v'shirei uzecha. Al Yedei David, Al Yedei David, Al Yedei David, Mashiach Tzidkecha, Al Yedei David, Al Yedei David, Al Yedei David, Mashiach Tzidkecha. Yimloch Adonai leolam Elohayich Sion, ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid gadlecha, ulenetzach netzachim kedushaktecha naktish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed, ki el melech gadol v'kadosh ata, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated now. We turn to page 162 to continue the repetition. Yismach Moshe b'matanat chelko, ki eved ne'eman karata lo, kalil tiferet b'rosho natata, b'yomdo lefanecha har Sinai, u'shnei lechot avanim horid b'yado, v'chatuv bahem shmirat Shabbat, v'chein katuv b'toratecha, v'shameru v'nei Yisrael, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. 163. ולא נתתו אדוני אלוהינו לגויי הארצות, ולא הנחלתו מלכנו לעובדי פסילים, וגם במנוחתו לא ישכנו אכלים, כי לישראל עמך נתתו באהבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת. מקדשי שביעי, כולם יספו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו, וקידשתו חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל ותפילתם, והשב את עבודה לדביר ביתך, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל ברצון, ותהי רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. 164. ותחזינה עינינו בשובת לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון, מודים אנחנו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יפרח ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל חיים יודוך סלע, והללו את שמך באמת האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. 165. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, ברכנו בברכה המשולשת, בתורה הכתובה על ידי משה עבדך, המאורה מפי אהרון ובניו כהנים, עם קדושך כאמור. Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Ken Yehiratzon.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
Ken Yehiratzon.
Yis Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Ken Yehiratzon.
Sim shalom ba'olam tov avracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael amecha varchenu avinu kulanu kechad be'or panecha ki be'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu sim shalom ba'olam tov avracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael Amecha Torah Chaim v'Yahava Chesed v'Yahava Chesed U'Tzedakah v'Racha v'Rachamim v'Chaim v'Shalom Sim Shalom ba'olam Tova v'Racha Chen v'Chesed v'Rachamim Aleinu v'Yal Kol Yisrael Amecha v'tov b'einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael v'chol etu v'chol she'a v'shlomecha sim shalom ba'olam tova v'racha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael Amecha Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Kaddish Shalem.
Kaddish Shalem.
Page 167. Yitkadav Yikadash Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamad Yivra Kirtei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayachon V'yamechon V'chayetechal Beit Yisrael B'agal Evzman Karev V'yimeru.
Amen.
Yesh Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam Olam Me'al Maya
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitelel V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha
Brehu.
Le'ela Min Kol Bechata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiram B'yama V'imeru.
Amen.
Titkabal Tzoltahon Vaton Dechol Yisrael Koram Avahon Devishmaya V'imeru.
Amen.
Yesh Lamarabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imeru.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imeru.
Amen.
I think it's time for the star of the show.
I think it is time for the star of the show. Move time stepping. Oh, not me. You mean Mr. Isaac. That's who you're referring to. Absolutely. Isaac, if you will come up here, we are on page 168 as we begin our Torah service. And I'd like to invite Mom and Dad to come on up here. And when Isaac cues you, you are going to open the ark. Okay. Let me pull this out. Give you a couple inches there.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai ve'ein kamasecha malchutecha malchut kol amim umemshaltecha bechol dor vador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch Elam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom Rahamim Heitiva v'rtzon ha'etzion Tivnei homot Yerushalayim Tivnei homot Yerushalayim Kivecha levad vatanu Melech el-ram v'nisa Adon olamim.
Please rise as we open the ark. Good, Mom. Close. Do you need a, hold on.
Vayhi ben Aharon vayomer Moshe
Kuma Adonai ve'afuz le'oivecha ve'ani nusu misanecha mipaneha ki mitzion tetze Torah ki mitzion tetze Torah udevar Adonai mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato V'rishemedim Lishme Kadisha, Kadisha Yahira, Ana Emar Tushbeha, Yehe Rava Oblama, V'tiftach libi be'oraita, V'tashli mishalin V'libi, V'liba dechomar Yisrael, V'tavu chayim V'lishlam. Amen. Isaac, we're about to pass to you the Torah from generation to generation, but this represents how we have passed this Torah and its message going back all the way to Moses. God gave Moses this Torah and the words to it on Mount Sinai, and Moses gave it to Joshua, who gave it to the elders, who gave it to the prophets, who gave it to the priests, and the rabbis eventually took the Torah and they've handed it down throughout the generations. And right now, this is our first bar mitzvah in about 5 months. First b'nai mitzvah, I should say, in about 5 months. And it's not been the happiest 5 months for our world. We've seen throughout our country protests and violence, and we've seen also this horrible pandemic and people arguing over that. But what the Torah provides is a light in the wake of that darkness and beauty. And so as you're about to be the inheritor of this Torah, it's our prayer that it doesn't stop with you, that it continues throughout the generations that lie before you, and also that you can take this message of beauty and hope and light and kindness, which we see in you, and deliver that to every person that you encounter as well. So I'm going to ask Dad to take out the Torah, hand it to Mom, and then to hand it to you, Isaac.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Galu Adonai iti, umeru mema, Shemo yachdav.
Leha Adonai Hagyedu. Come on, everybody. Jehovah Shammai, Uvaretz, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'shachavu lehakodsho Ki lados Adonai Eloheinu. Let's see. Isaac, can you give me a hand with this? Can you take those off? Thanks. And great, thank you. Thank you. We can just cover the Torah up with that. Fantastic. All right, Shabbat Shalom. We are beginning our Torah service. And with our Torah service today, Isaac, what Torah portion are we in? Okay, just making sure. We are in, the box says that we are in Parshat Re'eh, which I believe is the fourth of Deuteronomy. And one of the things that I always like, we're going to learn from Isaac in a bit about this, I want to take that off for 1 second so I can breathe, is about blessings and curses. I'll put this back on now. You can actually hear me better with it. And what we learn from Moses is, in the whole book of Deuteronomy, preparing for his own demise, but also preparing the people on how to survive without him. And something he says in this week's Torah portion is that the people have before them blessings and curses, and that they get to choose the direction that they go as a people. If they follow in the ways of God and observe the Torah and are kind to each other and hardworking, then they're going to prosper and be blessed. If they don't behave like this, if they lose faith, then they're going to be cursed. And I think that we can apply that message to today as well. Like I said a little before, we've seen some trouble throughout the world, but particularly in our own country. And I think a message for us is that we can see that when we don't care about other people as much as we care about ourselves, everybody suffers. When we are okay with some people not being equal to us, our country suffers. When we are okay with not wearing masks, because like I said, they're a little annoying and hard to breathe in, our whole country will suffer. Every single person will suffer because we will have this virus going on longer. So I love this Torah portion because it emphasizes to us that even though there's some things in life that are out of our control, a lot of our destiny is within our own control. If we choose to be kind, good people and to be thoughtful of others, then we can be blessed. And if we choose a different direction, then all of us will suffer. So, hooray, the Torah emphasizes choice. Let's make good choices. So, with that said, we are going to begin our Torah service. What this is going to look like today is we do 7 aliyot of chanting Torah. However, under non-COVID times, what that would mean is we'd have about 150 people in this room, and we would have 7 aliyot. But without that, what we've been doing is reading from what's called a tikkun, which is like a book version of the Torah, and doing that without the aliyot blessings. However, that's such a pivotal part of what the bar mitzvah ceremony is all about. We don't want to leave that out. So just as we are having a reformative b'nai mitzvah today with a mix of different traditions, we are likewise, Miles is going to start us off by the first 4 aliyot from a tikkun without the blessings. We'll give a blessing for study, maybe, of Torah. And then we're going to read the last 3 aliyot in the maftir from the actual Torah with Isaac and his family leading us. So we'll say a blessing for study. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher keishanu b'mitzvotav vitzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has commanded us to busy ourselves. That's what that means, to make ourselves busy with the words of Torah. Let's see, where are we right now specifically in the Torah?
So we're in Parashat Re'eh,
We are in Re'eh.
which is at the beginning of it, triennial year 1. So it's found on page 1061 of your Eitz Chaim Chumash, if you have that home, or if you are using a different Chumash, then we are in, let's see, chapter, what?
Should say right here. We are in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26, it appears.
ראה אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום ברכה וקללה, את הברכה אשר תשמעו אל מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום. והקללה, אם לא תשמעו אל מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם, וסרתם מן הדרך אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום, ללכת אחרי אלוהים אחרים אשר לא ידעתם, והיה כי יביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר אתה בשמה לרשת, ונתת את הברכה על הגריזים ואת הקללה על הר עיבל. הלא המה בעבר הירדן, אחרי דרך מבוא השמש, בארץ הכנעני היושב בערבה, מול הגלגל אצל אלוני מורה. כי אתם עוברים את הירדן, לבוא לרשת את הארץ, אשר אדוני אלוהיכם נותן לכם, ורישתם אותה וישבתם בה. See, I don't have the verse numbers in front of me, Rabbi. Do you want to just call out the...
Number 2, is that correct?
Yeah.
Hopefully, I will tell you in just 1 second. Today's August 15th, so
The second aliyah in the triennial cycle, we are on Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 32.
ושמרתם לעשות את כל החוקים ואת המשפטים אשר אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום. אלה החוקים והמשפטים אשר תשמרון לעשות בארץ אשר נתן אדוני אלוהי אבותיך לך לרשתה כל הימים אשר אתם חיים על האדמה. עבד תעבדון את כל המקומות אשר עבדו שם הגויים אשר אתם יורשים אותם את האלוהים, את אלוהיהם, על ההרים הרמים ועל הגבעות ותחת כל עץ רענן, וניתצתם את מזבחותם, ושיברתם את מצבותם, ויאשריהם תשרפון באש, ופסילי אלוהיהם תגדעון. ואיבדתם את שמם מן המקום ההוא. לא תעשון כן לאדוני אלוהיכם, כי אם אל המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיכם מכל שבטיכם, לשום את שמו שם, לשכנו תדרשו ובאת שמה.
All right, number 3. We are on Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 6.
והבאתם שמה עולותיכם וזבחיכם ואת מסורותיכם ואת תרומת ידכם ונדריכם ונדבותיכם ובכורות בקרכם וצונכם. ויאכלתם שם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם ושמחתם בכל משלח ידכם אתם ובתיכם אשר ברכך אדוני אלוהיך. לא תעשון ככל אשר אנחנו עושים פה היום, איש כל הישר בעיניו, כי לא באתם עד עתה אל המנוחה ואל הנחלה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. ועברתם את הירדן וישבתם בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיכם מנחיל אתכם, והניח לכם מכל אויביכם מסביב, וישבתם בטח.
Chapter 12, verse 11.
והיה המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיכם בו לשכן שמו שם, שמה תביאו את כל אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם, עולותיכם וזבחיכם, מסורותיכם ותרומת ידכם, וכל מבחר נדריכם, אשר תדעו לאדוני, ושמחתם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, אתם ובניכם ובנותיכם ועבדיכם ועמותיכם, והלוי אשר בשעריכם, כי אין לו חלק ונחלה איתכם. הישמר לך פן תעלה עולותיך בכל מקום אשר תראה, כי אם במקום אשר יבחר אדוני ביחד שבטיך, שם תעלה עולותיך, ושם תעשה כל אשר אנוכי מצווך, רק בכל אהבת נפשך תזבח ואכלת בשר, כי ברכת אדוני אלוהיך אשר נתן לך בכל שעריך, הטמא והטהור יאכלנו כצבי וחייל, רק הדם לא תאכלו, על הארץ תשפכנו כמים. Okay. The warm-up act is over.
Miles. Beautiful.
Okay. We are going to try and get this technology figured out. We're going to read from the Torah now. Our first, well, to chant Torah for us is going to be Matt Haber, Isaac's dad. And let's see if we can do this. I'm going to try bring in Grandma Pat Haber and also I'm going to try and bring in as well Uncle Jason Haber. So let me bear with me for one quick second. Okay, let's see. Jason, good, you're off. Let me mute myself. Sorry. 1 second. There we go. Okay, let's do a quick test of this. We're learning on the fly. Uncle Jason, can you say something? Okay, perfect. So, Ya'amod, Ya'amdu, Raphael ben Michael v'Chana, v'Chana bat Lillian v'Frank, l'Aliyah Chamishi.
We're going to be on chapter 12, verse 17.
Chapter 12, verse 17. Okay, so Uncle Jason and Grandma Pat, whenever you're ready. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Barucha Banu Mikol Ha'amein V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We will find that really fast. There it is. Lo Tachalu. Oh, there it is. One line. There it is. There you go. We are doing this just as our people did at the first bar mitzvah, Isaac, 2,000 years ago. This is how I hear they do it in Yukon Territory, at least.
Amen. Lo tuchal le'echol bisharecha masar deganacha v'tiroshecha v'yitzarecha uvchorot bicharecha v'tzonecha v'chol nedarecha asher tidor v'nidvotecha utrumat yadecha ki im lifnei Adonai Elohecha tochelenu v'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo ata uvincha uvitecha va'avdcha va'amatecha v'halevi asher bisharecha v'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha bichol mishlach yadecha hishamer lecha pen ta'azov et halevi kol yamecha alad matecha.
Okay, and 1 second. Let me bring. Okay, Uncle Jason and Grandma, whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nato b'tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noton haTorah.
Amen. Yashaka. All right. Our next Torah reader is going to be Isaac, and this is really exciting. This is how I know that Isaac is a big deal, is that apparently the entire Jewish population of Yukon Territory is on Zoom right now for your bar mitzvah, and we would like to call Grandpa Arthur Mitchell for the honor of the 6th Aliyah, Ya'amod Yisrael Avraham ben Shimon HaKohen LaAliyah HaShishi. Okay, Grandpa, if you can unmute yourself, and whenever you're ready. I'll come over here. Go ahead. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Chapter 12, verse 20.
Verse 20. Go ahead, Isaac. Karen, our microphone extraordinaire, will get that situated. Oh, here, let me pull this up so you can get a little taller. All right, go ahead. You want to step up here?
Amen. Ki archiv Adonai Elohecha et gebilecha Kasher diber lach, v'amarta ochela basar, ki te'avei nafshecha lechol basar, b'chol avat nafshecha tochel basar, ki yerchak mimecha hamakom, asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha, lasim shemo sham, v'zavachta mibecharecha, Umitonecha, asher natan anai lecha, kasher tziviticha, v'chata bisharecha, v'chol avat nafshecha, ach, kasher yechel tetzavi v'tayal, ken tuchlenu, hatamei v'tahor, yachdav yochelenu, rak chazak. Levilti achol hadam, ki hadam hu hanefesh, v'lo techal hanefesh im habasar. Lo techlenu aha'ars tishbechenu kamayim. Lo techlenu leman yitav lecha uvanecha acherecha, ki ta'aseh hayashar b'nei Adonai.
All right, 1 second, Grandpa. Let me unmute this. Okay, Grandpa, whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashar. Well, that was a first for Kolomi, and it worked. All right, for
Madhim.
the honor of the 7th Aliyah, we're Yashar too. To Executive Director and Tech Extraordinaire, Danny Berman. Boy, if I could go back in like 7 months ago and invest in Zoom stock, that would have been a good move. All right, we are now going to call for 7th Aliyah, Mom and Dad. Let me see, it was Matityahu, Reuven, Ben, what was your dad's name? Oh, there you go. Ben Michael, Vechana, Verachel, Aviva, Bat Yisrael, Avraham, Naomi, Rivka, la'aliyah hashvi'i. Find your place in there. Isaac, can you show your parents where?
Chapter 12, verse 26.
So look for the 26 in there, just kidding. Oh. Baruch Adonai Olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Toratu. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Linda.
Amen. Ki archiv Adonai
Wait, Rock
Kadashecha Asher Yuchlecha Unrecha Tisa Uvata El Hamakom Asher Yivchar Adonai Ve'asita Otecha Habasar Behadam Amizbach Anai Elohecha Ram Zebechecha Yishafei Al Mizbach Anai Elohecha Bebasar Tilchel Shemor Beshemata Et Kol Hadabrim Ha'elech Asher Anochi Metzabecha Leman Yitab Lecha Uvanecha Acherecha Adolam Ki Tase Hatov B'Hayashar B'nei Adonai Elohecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan betachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Eshkah. We're going to set this up here, and I'm going to set Torah Cam down for a second. And we are going to turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing of the mind, body, and spirit. You can find the Misha Berach on page 173 of your Siddur. And Karen is going to lead us in the first verse, then I'll say some names, and then we will conclude with the final verse of the Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Kor habracha la'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
This week, we think of the following members of our community and their loved ones who could use a prayer of healing of the mind, body, and spirit. Aharon ben Avraham Vasara, Daniel ben Chaya, Elchanan Yitzhak ben Shimon Pinchas, Esther bat Malka, Gedaliah bat Mashachana, Golda bat Hindel Rochel, Michael ben Mania, Shifra Fega bat Rochel, Sui bat Sarah, Yisrael Isser ben Moshe, Yisraela bat Dana, Laureen Berry, Claire Cashmore, Elwood Parker Crow, Denise Dobling, Alexander Dolowitz, Sandy Dolowitz, TJ Franks, Albert Goldberg, Will Goldman, Hillary Greenberg, Brenda Hart-Vigson, Sharon Katz, Betty Linehan, Jamie Manson, Tyler Matthews, Janet Morley, Shari Pedersen, Cheryl Rothenberg, Gary Rubenstein, Jen Salvati, Anel Santoyo, Jim Schalheim, Leon Shaposhnikov, Penny Spector, Angela Stefani, Gloria Sussman, Gary Spivey, David Sir, Dustin Wallace, and Harriet Wallace. And if you have a name to add, I invite you to do so at this time.
Makor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, a renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Amen. Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael bahagala bahagala uv'izman kariv v'yemeru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam le'olam maya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudisha
Brehu.
Leila min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram v'yalma v'yemeru. Amen.
Well, Isaac, everything you have done today so far has been incredible, has been amazing, has been beautiful. The way that you started off the Torah service and getting up here and singing for us so courageously, and also these last couple of aliyot you chanted. However, all of these things you actually could have done before today. Somebody as young as 6 or 7 is allowed to read Torah according to Jewish law. However, being called for an aliyah, called up for the blessing of the Torah, that is something that's reserved only for someone who has reached the age of bar or bat mitzvah. And in particular, with the end part of the Torah portion that we chant, called the maftir, we tend to save that for a person of honor. Today, I can't think of anyone better to honor than you, Isaac. And so really, people ask me, when is the moment of bar mitzvah? I don't know that there is a specific moment where you become bar mitzvah, but if there was a moment in this ceremony, I think it would be this one. So let's watch very carefully, see if any change happens before our eyes. I don't know, but let's get a lot of ruach, a lot of excitement as we welcome and call up Isaac for our maftir aliyah.
Please join me.
Yadai da 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 yadai da 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 yadai da 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 yada da yada da yadai da 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 yada da da yada da da yada da yada da yada da da yada yada da yada
Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Ya'amod. Habachor bar mitzvah, Yitzchak ben Matityahu, Ruven v'Rachel aviva, Hamaftir, Chazak, Chazak. Yalai la la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la, yalai la la la.
Find your spot. Take your talit. And touch. Kiss. All right.
We're again in chapter 12, verse 26 for the maftir.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Rak kadashecha, asher yichlecha unecha, tisa uvata el hamakom, asher yivchar Adonai. Ve'asita olotecha, habasar v'hadam, המזבח עיני אלוהיך, דם זבחיך, ישאפה על מזבח עיני אלוהיך, בבשר תאכל, שמור ושמעת. את כל הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך למען ייטב לך ובניך אחריך עד עולם, כי תעשה הטוב והישר בעיני אדוני אלוהיך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. And in our tradition, when somebody does something amazing like chant Torah perfectly, we often say Yasher Koach, which means way to go. So I thought that was pretty good. So I'm going to say you're welcome to join in with me. Yasher Koach. We are now.
Rabbi.
Yasher Koach, Isaac.
Isn't it after Haftarah?
Whenever you want.
We can sim into a Malta whenever, but I think we do that here after Haftarah. You've still got a little more work to do. But I feel like dancing and cheering too. But first, at this time, what I'll do, though, for you, is I will give you a blessing upon reaching this age of bar mitzvah. Misha berach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech et Yitzchak Michael ben Matit Yahu Ruven v'Rachel Aviva shehigia lemitzvot le'olah lichvod hamakom v'lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmerehu v'yichayehu Yechonen et libo lehiot shalem im Adonai Elohav lehagot v'torato lalechet bidrachav ve'lishmor mitzvotav ve'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol maaseh yadav yizku horav le'adlo leTorah u'chupa u'maasim tovim v'yimsa chen v'sechel tov Be'enei Elohim ve'adam ve'nomar Amen. May God bless, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Bless Isaac, Michael Haber, who has come for an aliyah upon reaching the age of mitzvot with reverence for God, respect for the Torah, and Shabbat. May the Kadosh Baruch Hu protect and sustain Isaac, helping him to be wholehearted in his faith, to study Torah and fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May his parents rear him to maturity, guiding Isaac to the blessings of Torah, if he chooses one day the chuppah and a life of maasim tovim, of good deeds. May he find favor before God and the community. Let us say, Amen. And now, we are, where's my service guide here?
Got the Yad Chazakah.
That's what I think so, at least. It sounds right to me. And so I'd love to call Dad to be our Hagbus today, our Torah lifter, Mom, our Galila, our Torah dresser, Ya'amdu, Agbia Veha Golelet. Please rise. Zot HaTorah Aser Samoshe Livnei B'nei Yisrael Akbi Adonai Ve'ya Moshe. There's the paper I'm looking for. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
You may be seated. And at this time, I would like to invite Isaac to come up here and share his teaching on this week's Torah portion with his Devar Torah. Let's move this back a little bit.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My portion, Re'eh, is all about rules. There are rules for what you can and can't do, what you can and can't eat, and what you have to do. These rules were to start being observed as soon as the Jewish people entered Israel, as long as we are on earth. Despite the rule that says you can't change the rules, we have changed the rules, a lot. And this is a super important fact. It means that we are in a religion that lets us tweak and change and remove the rules to let us adjust to modern times and our new understandings about the world. We haven't just started this recently either. We've been doing this for a very long time, centuries. Changing one rule means we can change as many as we need. In fact, it means we should change as many as we need. Each rule should be carefully examined and then either kept, tweaked, replaced, or even removed. Every rule we follow should be there for a good reason, not just because it was there. This would ensure that we don't just blindly follow the rules we are given, but that we follow the rules that are right to follow. Each rule should serve a purpose. At the very beginning of Re'eh, it mentions the choice between a blessing and a curse. I set before you a blessing and a curse. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26. In a way, this is like the choice between examining the rules and not examining them. In both cases, we are given a choice. This means we are given the free will to choose. But they are also similar in that they are both choices between blessings and curses. If we look at all the rules carefully and then change them when needed, then it is a blessing, because we do everything for a reason. On the other hand, if we just blindly follow the rules, we are cursed to follow immoral or pointless practices just because they are there. I would like to show an example of this, and there are a lot of rules to choose from. Among these rules are many that we shouldn't keep following, like stoning to death anyone who tries to convert you to a God you haven't experienced. But there are also many that we should keep, like giving to those in need without hesitation. Of all these rules to choose from, I chose to examine the following one in particular, because it puts emphasis on safety, and that is super relevant to what is going on today. When you cross over the Jordan and live in the land that the Lord your God is allotting to you, and when he gives you rest from your enemies all around you, so that you live in safety, then you shall bring everything that I command you to the place that the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verses 10 and 11. From this quote, it is easy to gather that safety is a huge priority. The way that it is phrased implies that we shouldn't do the required sacrifices until we are free from our enemies. But without the temple, we don't do sacrifices more. To accommodate this, we instead practice prayer. Since we have replaced sacrifice with prayer, we should act like it says to in this quote, but anywhere it says sacrifice or offerings, act like it says prayer. If we act like it says prayer, then that means we have been commanded to pray only when we have rest from our enemies. Our enemies aren't just humans. They include everything that puts us in danger. This would mean that we shouldn't pray in ways that could harm us or make us sick, like coming to services in person during a worldwide pandemic. I like this rule because it has a big focus on safety, and that you should prioritize your health and well-being over being strictly observant, not risk your life to be a more observant Jew. After all, prioritizing your health is the observant thing to do. I think this rule has become one of the most important ones during this pandemic. If this pandemic has taught me one thing, is that you should value safety, and this rule shares my belief. So don't think of not coming to services in person during a pandemic as shrugging off your religious duties. Think of it as actually following them. Lots of people around the world could learn that. This pandemic is not a joke or a hoax like our president's trying to convince us. It is very real, and it's okay to be cautious. People shouldn't be shamed for not coming in person. There's a passage in the Torah that not only says that it's permitted, but that it's encouraged to prioritize your safety. I'm glad that everyone watching this is at home. I don't want you to feel bad that you aren't here in person. Thank you for not coming. I would like to thank my parents for always motivating me to prepare for my bar mitzvah, even when I didn't want to. encouraging me to become bar mitzvah, and helping me wherever they could. I'd also like to thank Danny Berman for being the man behind the camera. Finally, I would like to thank Karen Nielsen-Anson, Miles Greenberg, Cantor Bot-Sarah, Rabbi Sam Spector, and David Asman for helping me do as well as possible today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach. Isaac is now going to lead us in our Haftarah, which is the part of the Torah portion, the prophets, that coincides with our Torah portion. That is on page 1085 of the Eitz Chaim Chumash. If you don't have an Eitz Chaim Chumash, though, you can find that in any Bible in Isaiah chapter 54, verse 11. Please, Isaac, lead us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'miim tovim v'ratzah b'divrahim hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habacher b'torah u'Moshe avdo v'Yisrael amo v'miyeh hamet v'tzedek. Ania Sora lo nuchama hine anochi marbit vapuch avanaich visadich basapirim vasamti kadchod shimshotaich ushareich levne ekda bechol gevile levne chefetz bechol banaich limude anai berav shalom banaich bitstaka tikonani Rachaki meoshek lo tirai umi mechita ki lo tikrav al elaich hen gor yagur nefes moti migar itach aich ipo hine anachi barati charash nefech besh pecham moti cheli masechu ve'anochi Barati mashchit lechabel kokeli yutzar alaich lo yitzach v'chol lashon takumitach lamishpat tarshi zot nachalat avdei Adonai v'tzikatam me'iti nu Adonai Hoi kol tamei l'chu elai l'chu l'mayim v'asher en lo kasef l'chu shiru v'acholu l'chu shiru bo kasef uvlo mechir yain v'chalav lama shislu chesef b'lo lechem v'giachem b'lo l'sova Shimu shamoa elai v'chlutov p'titanag ba'deshen nafshechem hatu oznechem chu elai shimu udchi nafshechem brachata lachem brit olam chazdei David hanemanim chen elamim netativ nagid unsavei leumim Hen goy lo tada tikra vegoy lo reucha elecha yarutzu leman anai ohecha blikdosh Israel ki perach baruch ata anai elhenu melchalam tzur kol holamim tzadik bechol hadarot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer va'oseh hanverim kayem shechol davarav emet v'tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'nemanim devarecha v'dvar echad midvarecha achor lo yashuv rekam ki melech ne'eman rachman atah baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
ha'el hane'eman bechol devarav
Amen.
rachem al tzion ki hi beit hayenu ve'la aluvat nefesh toshia v'imhera ve'amenu Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Mesamech Tzion bebanecha
Amen.
Samechenu Adonai Eloheinu B'leachu hanavi avdecha Uv'malchut bet David Meshihecha V'imhera yevo V'yigel libenu Al kiso lo yeshev zar ולא יאכלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
מגן דוד.
Amen.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
מקדש השבת.
Amen. Semen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a semen tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, a semen tov, a mazel tov, a semen tov. Yehelanu, 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 Olechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael. Isaac, Mazel Tov. I'm getting some feedback on my here, but what I would love, I know that you should be proud of yourself, first of all. I hope you are. This becoming a bar mitzvah is a major achievement, something you'll carry with you throughout your life. And I know that everybody who's watching and the few people we have here are all immensely proud of you. I'm guessing perhaps most proud, though, are your mom and dad. And so I'd like to invite Matt and Rachel to come on up here and share some words with you, Isaac, as you on the occasion of you becoming a bar mitzvah. We'll put this aside, and Mom and Dad, if you could speak into the mic too, so everybody back home can hear you. Go ahead. Step close.
Isaac, I am so proud of you. Now I'm going to get upset. Isaac, I am so proud of you. One of the first things we learned when we started down the path to this day is that you do not get a bar mitzvah, you become a bar mitzvah. I must confess that when I first heard this distinction being repeated over and over at each parent meeting we attended, I did not really understand why this was such an important distinction. The last few months have made the importance of this distinction more than apparent, and I am proud to say that you have risen to the occasion. Nobody can say that you were in this for the party. Not only have you become a bar mitzvah, but also a real mensch and a joy to be around. These times have been trying for everyone, and you have approached everything with empathy and optimism. You are constantly asking your dad and I how we are doing. How are you doing? Do you need a hug? I love you. These are all familiar refrains in our house. You are always trying to help in any way you can, from helping to clean the house with prompting, to making cookies to cheer everyone up without prompting. You taught me the blessings for the Torah while biking beside me and coaching me up hills while I ran. You learned to cut your dad's hair when the barber was no longer a safe place to routinely go. With rare exceptions, I almost never hear you saying anything negative about other people. When asked who your best friend is, you will reply, I don't like to rank my friends. And indeed, you do not like to rank anyone. You are an advocate for justice and have attended multiple protests in the past several years. Although you are sometimes shy around outside adults, you are an outspoken member of the conversation at our dinner table, and I have no doubt that you will learn to speak up more and more as you grow older. All of these qualities are part of what make you a bar mitzvah. They would make you who you are, whether or not we had managed to find a way to mark this occasion with a ceremony today. I hope that you will continue to carry these qualities forward with you as you continue to find your way in the world and grow into the man you will one day become. I love you, Mom.
Thank you for the haircut. Isaac, I want to start by thanking you for motivating me to prepare for your bar mitzvah. I didn't think I'd be able to read from the Torah, but you pushed me to do it and inspired me to work hard on it. I'm really proud of you. I think you wrote a great Devar Torah, and I love this Torah portion for you. You might remember that I've said that before. When we first learned this would be your section, we all read it. I told you then that I knew exactly what I was going to say about it in my parental charge, and that it was a great portion for a bar mitzvah. I also told you I wasn't going to tell you my interpretation of it until now, because I wanted you to dig into it on your own, and I wanted to see what you drew from it. Fair enough. Well, you saw something very important. As you put it, this portion, Re'eh, opens by observing that a choice has been set before us, and you connect this to free will. Others have noticed this as well, including the 12th century Jewish philosopher Maimonides. Pretty cool and pretty heady stuff. At this point, everyone is worried I'm about to give a long, boring lecture. Fear not. Because as insightful as Maimonides may have been, I don't think he thought about this passage in the context of someone that's just becoming a teenager. And I think it's particularly apt for a bar mitzvah, because you are entering a new stage of your life, one in which you'll be faced with lots of choices. And you're going to own those choices in ways you really haven't when you were younger. And just like the beginning of your portion describes, the choices you make will bring blessings and curses. You'll make good choices, but also some mistakes. That's okay. And you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, so long as you learn and grow from those. Being responsible for your choices and their consequences is kind of scary and hard. But there's good news, too. First, you are not alone. Though you're ultimately the one that will be making these choices, you've got a lot of people to help you think through these things. Everyone here, your mom and me, your friends, your community, we're here for you. We've got your back. Second, you are ready for this. You have a strong sense of self and a strong set of core values. As you grow into adulthood, you'll be figuring both of these things out and refining them along the way and be more or less confident of them. That's okay and normal, but they'll be there, and you can draw on them to help guide you in the same way you can rely on all of us. My job is to give you a parental charge. Here it is. You are a careful, thoughtful, empathetic, analytic, and creative thinker. You embrace nuance, want to do the right thing, and care about other people. Stay true to yourself, trust in yourself, and go make the world a better place. You're going to be great, I'm sure of it. I'm really proud of you, and I love you.
Well, Isaac, here, Matt and Rachel, have you go stand next to Isaac over there. And we are also so proud of you. One of the reasons I came to Utah is that Kolami and the Jewish community really feels like family here. We're all transplants, a lot of us are, most of us are, and we really kind of cling to each other as our adopted family, and I know that was evident with what Karen was saying of how she's known you for 8 years, and really you becoming a bar mitzvah is not just a personal achievement for you and your family. Bringing you to this point is something that all of us at Kolami take pride in. So I have some messages here from some folks in Kolami. This is from Teresa Bruce and Jim Isaacson, our co-presidents of our board of trustees. Isaac, Mazel Tov. On behalf of Congregation Kolami, we wish to express our admiration for such a beautiful service to celebrate your becoming a bar mitzvah. These are difficult times, but with your passion for improv, this unusual setting doesn't seem to pose a challenge for you. Speaking and chanting to a room that is virtually empty can be intimidating, but clearly not for you. The room may be sparsely populated, but trust me, and good thing they're telling you this afterwards, there are hundreds and hundreds who watched you via live stream. So the room may be somewhat empty, but today you've made our hearts full. One of the many pleasures of being presidents of the congregation is to present the B'nai Mitzvah students with a Chumash. That's a book version of the Torah. It's over there. I'll let you guys pick them up later, so I'm not handing them to you, to serve as a remembrance of this day. And this Chumash comes with what we call the Sam Shapiro guarantee. If you wear it out, it gets beaten up by all the nights you're going to stay up late reading Torah. Bring it back to us, and we'll give you a new one free of charge. We hope that you will use this throughout the years to continue learning that will foster a deep connection to your Judaism. Many lessons to be learned and embraced in this sacred book. Again, we say Mazel Tov, and we look forward to walking this Jewish journey with you in the years to come. And I also have a message here from your classmate, Sophie Kolb, who was our last bat mitzvah. Mazel Tov, Isaac. This is an important achievement in your life. I know you're going to do great today. Although we, meaning your family, friends, and congregation, are all wishing we could be with you in person, we are all watching and cheering you on from home. Over the 2 years I've been at Congregation Kolami, I've watched you work so hard towards this day. You are a hard worker and a friend to all. All of us watching at home wish you and your family health and happiness as you mark a great achievement today. Today is your special day, so enjoy it and remember all the circumstances you pushed past to get here today. On behalf of the B'nai Mitzvah class, I give to you a Kiddush cup that's over here and a Havdalah candle to mark your achievement today. The Havdalah candle, which means separation, and we light it to separate Shabbat versus the regular week, that represents your separation from who you were before today and who you are now going forward as a bar mitzvah. In the Kiddush cup, we hope that you use that at many happy moments in your life. I officiate a lot of weddings. I did one just a couple weeks ago where the bride used her Kiddush cup from when she became a bat mitzvah. But also, wherever in the world you are, if you're ever having a tough week and it's Friday night and you plan to make Kiddush, use that cup and remember that you have a community here that really loves you. So that is from your classmates. I'd love to say some words to you, Isaac. So going back about a year and a half ago, I was planning with Laura Green our Israel trip for the congregation. And I was looking at dates where we could go to Israel. And we were looking at several dates, and I said, I need to be back by August 15th. And she said, oh, but it might be a little cheaper for hotels if we go a little earlier. I said, I need to be back August 15th from Israel because I am not missing Isaac Haber's bar mitzvah. And so we planned the trip, and it was to go from August 2nd, I think, through August 13th. And then there was an optional 2-day extension, August 14th and 15th, to go to Petra, Jordan. And I was told, since you're the rabbi, you're the chaperone of the trip, leader, you can go to Petra, Jordan for free. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to Petra. I'm coming back for Isaac's bar mitzvah. And your parents, they came up to me nervous and said, we saw that you're going to Israel a couple days before Isaac's bar mitzvah. Will you be back in time? And I said, I promise you, I'm taking a red-eye flight. I'm getting back the day before Isaac's bar mitzvah. I won't miss it for the world. Well, airlines aren't always reliable, Isaac. And I started to get nervous. So to make sure I was here, I canceled the whole Israel trip just to be here for your bar mitzvah. And best decision I've made. Because, Isaac, I've come to know you as just a complete Mitch. Even right now, you're making eye contact with me in a way that so few people do. You just have this incredible ability to connect with other people. And it seems like you always just bring joy. And you can tell, like Karen was saying, that you have this smile to you even when your face is covered. And I loved as we prepared for today, when we were talking about how many people do we allow in, what type of service do we want? You really, I think, you did exactly what a bar mitzvah is supposed to do, which is say, what is my personal connection with each of these things? What is my Jewish values? What are my interpretations? And how will I connect those to this day? And that's so cool. And we've gotten to know each other pretty well, I think, over the past few weeks, where even we had a virtual Zoom ice cream hangout and just had ice cream over Zoom and got to know each other. And in our rehearsals, we had to convince you, Isaac, when you're giving your Devar Torah, it's okay to take your mask off, we'll be far away from you. And you were even hesitant about that because you're so thoughtful of caring for other people that you wanted to make sure everybody else was safe. Isaac, you emulate what it means to be a bar mitzvah, to be a member of the Jewish community. I'm so, so, so proud to share this bima with you. Being a rabbi for people like you called to the Torah is why I became a rabbi. I want to thank you. And I hope that this is not the last time you and I are on this bima together, but rather in a couple of years that you'll go through confirmation with me and bring that spirit of social justice your mom talked about to come with me in Washington, D.C. and make some changes that year. And so I look forward to that. And just in case tomorrow you wake up and say, did this really happen? That felt like a dream. I think I need to chant more Haftarah or something. We have over there a certificate signed by me and the co-presidents saying, no, yes, indeed, Isaac, on this day you were called to the Torah and became a bar mitzvah. And to mark this moment, I want to give you the oldest blessing in our tradition, the priestly blessing that we use for our holiest moments. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Isaac, our prayer for you is that God will always keep you safe and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. And just as you have this wonderful smile that you can even see with a mask on, we pray that God will always smile upon you and be kind and gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha vayasem lecha shalom. And Isaac, as you go out now as a bar mitzvah, you have a responsibility to make the world a more peaceful place, a place that more reflects our Jewish values, your Jewish values. And it's our prayer that as you go out and do this, God grants you the most precious gift of all, a lifelong journey that's filled with peace. Amen. Mazel tov. We are going to give you a little bit of a break for a moment. You can go, you've been on your feet a lot. So Isaac, you can feel free to grab a seat over here. And we are going to announce, actually, we have a new month coming up. Please rise.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova v'livracha v'titen lanu chaim arukim chaim shel shalom chaim shel tova chaim shel beracha chaim shel parnasa chaim shel chilutz atzamot חיים שיש בהם יראת שמיים ויראת חטא, חיים שאין בהם בושה וכלימה, חיים של אושר וכבוד, חיים שתאבנו אהבת תורת ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. אמן. סלע. מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו וגאל אותם מעבדות לחירות, הוא יגאל אותנו בקרוב ויקבץ נידחינו מעבר כנפות הארץ. חברים כל ישראל ונאמר אמן. ראש חודש אלול יהיה ביום חמישי וביום שישי, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה.
The new month of Elul, a month of great joy and happiness. Let's hear, Rabbi. Will begin on, on Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday. May it hold blessing for us and for all the people of Israel, Elul, leading up to the high holidays.
Yechadeshehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu V'al Kol Amo Beit Yisrael L'chaim U'L'Shalom L'Sason U'L'Simcha L'Yeshua U'Nechama V'Nomar Amen.
Amen. And so now we put down the Torah. We turn to page 181 for Ashrei.
Ashrei Oshrei Veitecha Od Yehalelu Chasela
Ashrei Ham Shekachalo, Ashrei Ham Shadonai Eloav.
Tila LeDavid Aromimcha Elohai HaMelech V'avarcha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed
Behol Yom Avarchecha V'ahala Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Mula Me'od V'ligdulato Ein Cheker
Dor Ledor Yishabach Maseha Uvrotecha Yagidu.
Hadar Kavod Hodecha V'divrei Niflotecha Asicha
Ve'zuzratecha Yomeru Ulacha Asaprena.
Zecher Rav Tuvacha Yabiu V'tzidkatecha Yaranenu
Chanun Barachum Adonai Erech Paim Udol Haset.
Tov Adonai Lakol V'rachamav Al Kol Ma'asav
Yoducha Adonai Kol Maasecha Ve'asidecha Yivachucha.
Kavod Malchutcha Yomeru Ugvuratecha Yidaberu
Leodia Livnei Hadam Gevrota Vuchod Hadam Malchuto.
Malchutcha Malchut Kol Amim U'memshaltecha B'chol Dor V'dor
Somech Adonai Lechol HaNoflim V'zokev Lechol HaKfim.
Einechol Elecha Yisaberu V'atam Noten Lahem Et Ochlam B'ito
Poteach Yadecha U'maspia Lechol Hayratzon.
Tzadik Adonai B'chol Derachav Chasid B'chol Ma'asav
Harov Adonai Lechol Korav Lechol Asher Yikreu Emet.
V'tzon Yoav Yaseh V'et Shivatam Yishma V'yoshiem
Shomer Adonai et Korva Ve'kor Hashaim Yashmid.
Tilat Adonai Yedaber Pi V'varech Al Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed
V'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata v'ad olam. Hallelujah. Page 183. Please rise as we begin to return the Torah to the ark. Want to walk around again? You want to walk with it?
Ya'alelu et Shem Adonai Ki neskav Shemo levado Hodo al eretz v'shamayim Vayaharehem keren liamo Tila lechol chasidav Livnei Yisrael am karovo Hallelujah, Hallelujah Mizmor LeDavid Avu l'Adonai b'nei Elim Avu l'Adonai kavod v'oz Avu l'Adonai kivo shemo Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh Kol Adonai al mayim el kavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim Kol Adonai ba'koach Kol Adonai be'adar Kol Adonai shover azim V'shaber Adonai et arzei havanon Vayarkidem kemo egel Libanon v'Sirion Kemo v'en re'emim Kol Adonai choset lahavot esh Kol Adonai yachil midbar kadesh Kol Adonai yachol el ayalot Vayechasof yaarot uvehechalo kulo omer kavod Adonai lamalbul yashav vayeshev Adonai melech leolam Adonai oz le'amo yitin Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Tirameha Tarhenoam Beholy Voteha Shalom Ashivenu Adonai Elecha Ashuva Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Tegedem. We remain standing for Musaf, page 185. Chatzi Kaddish.
ויקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
יעמד דברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ויומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, ועגלה בזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולם מיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה ברכו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בימה, ויאמרו
Amen. Now we'll turn to page 185 for Musaf.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei HaKol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot, U'Mevi Goel Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Foked U'Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham U'Foked Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. Page 187. נעריצך ונקדישך, כסוד שיח שרפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומו, הוא יפם ברחמים, ויחון עמם יחדים, שמו ערב ובוקר, בכל יום תמיד, פעמיים באהבה, שמה אומרים, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו. הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו. והוא ישמיענו, ישמיענו ברחמיו, שנית, 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 שנית לעיני כל חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ודברי קדשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גד לך, לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גד לך, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גד לך, כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, וקדוש וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, וקדוש וקדוsh אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen.
The rest of the Amidah is said silently through page 192.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Ya say shalom, ya say shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Amen. Page 203, Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויקדש שמך רבה, ויעמד יברח יוצא, וימליך מחוצה, וחייכון ויומכון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגל הזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמך רבה מברך, לעולם ועולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, ברכו. לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ביעלמה ויאמרו, אמן. תקבל צלתהון ובאתהון, דכל ישראל קרמה והון, דבישמיה ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו, Amen.
So before we conclude our service, some announcements. Did you have something? Oh, okay, you look like you're about to. So I just was checking. I was making sure I didn't cut you off.
Well, I will say this, Rabbi.
Please.
It's not an announcement, but we have to mention that Yitzhak means laughter, right? And you even made us laugh during your Devar. It was so lovely. And you've had such lovely examples of menschkeit behavior from your parents. Thank you so much, Matt Haber, for your service on the McGillis board. We couldn't do it without you at McGillis, and we're so grateful. And Rachel, thank you for your service to all of us in health and in your lovely work as a doctor.
Yeah, careful, or you'll end up on the Colamy board too.
Yeah, you speak from
Oh,
experience.
should I have not have said that? Sorry.
So you have a penchant for volunteering. All right, good to know. Well,
Just
amen.
had to throw that in there.
Thank you. It's always good to acknowledge and recognize people, and I want to recognize all of you who've helped make today possible. Of course, we are in unusual times, and I want to thank Miles not only for being a board member, but also for leading us beautifully today, helping prepare for this day, and also Karen, thank you so much as well for bringing your smile, your joy, your music, and your heart to this service as well. One of the things that makes me nervous about our new technology is you can see comments from people while they are watching it, sometimes on Facebook Live, and I've gotten several messages of how beautiful the service was today, thanks to the two of you. Thank you also to Danny Berman, our executive director, who our equipment came in a little late, and so he has been here till like 9, 10 o'clock almost every night this week, making sure we were all set up for the Haber Bar Mitzvah. Grateful to you, Danny, and it worked, hooray, that he was doing all these tests. And thank you also to the LiveControl people who are monitoring the camera feed as well. And also a special thank you to our candy distributors, Sadie Greenberg, as well. Excellent job distributing candy, Sadie. A few announcements. Let me think. Tomorrow, we have Minyan throughout the week per usual, but also tomorrow, Ketuvim study with Rabbi Wenger. And on Wednesday now, it's now on Wednesday, Parshat HaShavua study with Rabbi Wenger as well. I'm going to take this off. Oh, there we go. And I would also like to announce as well that that on Tuesday evening we have our third installment of our virtual Israel trip. And this week we're going to be talking about pop culture in Israel. Matthew Weinstein will be leading that. And how does hip-hop music in Israel reflect the politics and culture? I think that will be really interesting. On Wednesday night, we have our annual meeting. So please register for that. That will be over Zoom this year. And you have to be a member in good standing in order to participate in that and hear about our year in review, our year ahead, how we're managing these difficult times that we're in. So please come and join us for that. And a few other announcements. Speaking of being a member in good standing, thank you to those of you who have renewed your membership and helped support us in doing this work that we are continuing to do even during this pandemic. We appreciate all of your support. And religious school is starting next week. Please enroll your kids in religious school. If you have questions about that, you can talk to me or the interim director of education, Tamara Kipper, who's doing a phenomenal job trying to meet these challenges that we have, and will be and she is happy to answer your questions and help you enroll your children in religious school. You've enjoyed today. I hope you have. Saturday next week is Seth King's bar mitzvah. That will be a conservative traditional service beginning at 9 a.m. So please join us for that. I think those are our primary announcements at this time. And the last thing I'll say is we are preparing. You might have seen a little video go out for me yesterday to get out. Hooray. So good. About what we were doing for the high holidays, some pretty exciting stuff with this wonderful new technology that we have. And something we would love is if you could email pictures or 10-second video clips of your family saying Shana Tova, like Shana Tova from the Haber family, or something like that, and send that to communications@concolame.org. We would love to include that in our high holiday messages and our service. With that said, we will continue.
I think we would be remiss in concluding if we weren't to give you, Rabbi Spector, a huge thank you for this amazing service. I see you not only being a lovely rabbi, but you're also managing many levels of both halakha law and technology.
It's a difficult dance that we are in, but I've have a great
thank
team.
you so much.
And I know people have enjoyed hearing your voice, Karen. So if you want to hear Karen again, join me and Karen this Friday night for services. It will be a lot of fun.
The rabbi is hoping that when he grows up, he can be an executive director of the synagogue.
No, that's not true. I want to be president of a board of trustees of a synagogue. That sounds way more fun. Or you can be Danny and just do both at various times in my life.
Thank you, Danny.
Danny Berman, kind guy with terrible judgment. There you go. Bad life decisions there, Danny. President and executive director. We're grateful to you, Danny, for all of your help. We are going to begin to conclude our service with Ein Kelohenu, page 204. Isaac, come on up, buddy.
Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu,
Ein Malkeinu, Ein Moshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Mi Malkeinu, Mi Moshienu, No Del Eloheinu, No Del Adonenu, No Del Malkeinu, No Del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shiktiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha Ketoret Asamim. Please rise for Olenu, page 205. By the way, I got a message that Sunshine Hank Levine is watching. Thanks for all of your volunteerism, Hank. We appreciate you, buddy. Adon hakol, v'tektu al serveshim, v'hosanu k'yaratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, shelo sam elkeinu k'hem, egor aleinu k'hol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Livnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, v'hayam,
Ele akol haaretz, hayom hahu, yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shema, u'shema, u'shema echad. You may be seated. At this time, we think of those who've come before us, who are no longer physically among us. And I'm sure that most of you have heard, but in case you haven't, that we've had a terrible, terrible loss in our community yesterday with the passing of Ira Tannenbaum. Ira has been a part of our community for all 94 years of his life. And I think I can say without offending anyone that he was perhaps our most loved member here at Cole and Me by everyone, or certainly there was nobody more loved than Ira. It tells you something, I think, when somebody who's in their mid-90s passes away, and it shocks and devastates the community. So the thing with Ira is, in true Ira fashion, he had wanted and planned for when he passed away to have a giant party and lunch that he was going to posthumously sponsor for the whole community, but obviously that can't happen right now. But every single, Ira being a World War II veteran, every single year on the Shabbat coinciding with Veterans Day, we always celebrated Ira and also celebrated his birthday being around that time too. So the next Veterans Day that we're together, Veterans Day Shabbat that we're together, we're going to have a belated celebration of Ira. But with being so loved also, one of the hazards of that, with what we're dealing with, is that the family knows that everybody in the world would want to show up to Ira's funeral. But because of the pandemic, they're asking, please, that you don't do that, that unless they've reached out to you personally for a part in the service, that you please watch via Zoom. That the link to the Zoom was in the condolence announcement, and it's going to be 12 o'clock on Monday. And then at 7 o'clock, Rabbi Wanger and Cantor Loeb will lead over Zoom a Shiva minyan. And so you can find the link for that as well in the condolence announcement that we sent out yesterday. But I know Ira's memory will be for a blessing. We are in the period of Shloshim for the following people, loved ones of our community. Robert Feynman, past president of Kolami and husband of Bonnie Feynman. Pearl Goldman Coleman, mother of Marin Coleman. Pearl Smith, mother of Betsy Smith. Shelia Kolodkin, cousin of Larry Green. Reverend Kenneth Oswald, father of Levine Shapiro. Jenny Creer, mother of Moshe Amunkeme. And Marcia Sargent, sister of Betsy Smith. And this week, we observe the following Yorksites passing of these, the anniversary of the passing of these loved ones. Hattie Axelrad, Jacob Berkowitz, Carol Blankfield, Louis Block, Joseph Board, Haya Checklin, Elias Klashko, Tilly Feldshire, Polina Filshtinsky, Captain Eugene Irving Finke, Bertha Frank, Milton Frank, Mo Gardner, Morris Gerlich, Margaret Gebhard, Dorothy Keslansky, Sean Keston, Hannah Krickstein, Harvey David Kushner, Ava Meister, Beatrice Needleman, Rose Nord, Donald Lee Page, Jenny Pasternak, Celia Pepper, Ann L. Perlman, Ida Marion Rubin, Florence Seelig, Anna N. Stegman, Harold Tornquist, George J. Turner, Hyman Werber, Ruth Wildfuhr, and Harold Wilson. If you have a name to add, I invite you to do so at this time. Zichronam Livraha, may their memories be for a blessing. If you are in mourning or is your tradition to do so, you are invited to rise. Yitgadal, Bikadash, Shmerabah, Be'alma Divrach Yurte, V'yamlech Malchute, V'chayahon, V'yomechon, V'chaye Dechol Be Israel, V'agalal, V'zman Kari, V'imru. Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mivrach Le'olam Omei Omaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitale V'yitawal Shemei Kudusha Parihu, Ve'ela Minkol Bechata V'shirata, Tush Bechata V'nechemata, Da'ami Ram Be'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom V'imrumav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who are mourning and comfort those of you who are bereaved. And we are going to conclude now with Adon Olam. So, come on up.
Who's Adon Olam? Are you?
You and I.
Karen, I believe you're leading. Are you leading us, Karen? Or?
How about we all do it together?
Let's all do it together. I love that.
And that's on 211.
It's on page 211.
211.
All right, Isaac.
Adon Olam
Hashem
Hashem
Allah, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, V'yet nasa v'hesokol, Hazai melech shemo nikra, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, והמשילו להבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי והי גואלי, בצור חבלי בצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו הפקיד רוחי, והייתי שם בהעירה, ועם רוחי בביאתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא. Please rise. Adonai Eloheinu melech borei pri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. Well, Mazel Tov, Isaac.
Kol hakavod.
Oh, they didn't put grape juice in there, I can see. Well, Mazel Tov to you.
You're a man now, right? You were a
Thank
child
you,
and now you're a man.
everybody, for joining us. Be safe, and Mazel Tov to the Haver family. All right.